evening and welcome to Meticulous Moments. My name is Juanita Kapp. You can reach me at meticulousmacarons@gmail.com or find me on LinkedIn. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the globe, I've had the wonderful privilege to meet a wide array of fantastic individuals. These individuals have truly touched my life in so many positive ways. Amongst this group of people, there are authors, public speakers, life coaches, poets, leaders, and visionaries. They are the unsung heroes of our time. Therefore, I decided to start the Meticulous Moments movement out of a sense of my gratitude. It is my way of giving back to the community. Let us share and reshare their stories in an effort to build a better society. Good day, Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another lovely session here at the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have the privilege of spending time with none other than the amazing Eve Mapanda. We had such a lovely session. We had such a passionate session discussing the topic of leadership. A little bit more about Eve. Eve is a mindset and life coach. She's a speaker. She's a mental health activist. She's a philanthropist. She helps ambitious women to conquer their fear and self-doubt, to live authentically and audaciously. Eve is definitely one of the most powerful female leaders I have met up to date, and I am encouraging you as the audience to watch this episode and learn. With that, I want to say welcome to our fabulous guest here on the Meticulous Moments podcast. Welcome, Eve Mapanda. Good day, Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another vibrant session here. Today we are going to discuss leadership, and we have the wonderful privilege of spending time with the amazing Eve Mapanda. Welcome, Eve.
Oh, hi, Anita. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here and so excited about this interview. It's going to be interesting because we've already had the energy exchange, so I can't wait to see what comes up.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just so much fun to spend time with you. And yes, we generate a lovely energy, and I agree with you. This is going to be a phenomenal interview. Now, I've had meetings where we were in the same meetings, and we've had a video call before, and we've talked on Messenger. But would you please introduce yourself to the audience for those who are not familiar with you?
So I am Eve Mapanda. I am a mindset and life coach for women, and I help women build unshakable confidence to pursue their dreams. And that comes from my own personal experience, where I suffered from anxiety and just didn't know how to go about, my internalized dreams. And also, I am also a philanthropist. I don't know if you call it humanitarian philanthropist, all in the same word. But yes, think of me as all of them. But yes, for Africa Healing Foundation, where we work to improve healthcare and reduce poverty, we have started in Zimbabwe, and we hope to go to Kenya and then go to other countries in Africa. That came from my own personal struggles in terms of what I went through with my dad, which we're going to get into later as we go into the interview. But just having a passion for seeing people thrive, because I believe that no man should suffer because of not having money. No man should suffer because of not having, the basic healthcare needs, or even just something as food, when there's so much of us who are in a position to do something about it. So that's the second thing I do. So yes, I am a busy woman. I am also a wife to an amazing husband, and also a mother of three amazing children. So I do juggle a lot. I also put myself out there as an author.
Wonderful.
I did that in 2020, but that was like the pandemic. I I realized I had a skill, which obviously we're going to talk about that more, but I realized I had a skill of writing. So yes, so yeah, watch out for my new book coming out soon. But we're gonna get into that, how it all went down with the anxiously bold channel. But yes, aside from that, I out of all those titles, the one thing that I just want to say is I am a woman. I am a woman who is, boldly in pursuit of her dreams. And I am a woman who believes in herself. I am a woman with my own identity. And I don't, as much as we have titles in life, it's important to remember, why we're here and what we're purposed to do.
Absolutely. Eve, I love that. You're a leader. You fit in so well with the Meticulous Moments vision to bring community upliftment through leadership development. You are an example to us all. I love your energy. I love your vibe. I love your personality, the excitement that you get. That look that you get on your face when you talk about helping others, that really touches my heart deeply. And I would like to ask you, I experience leadership as the foundation of society in several ways. How important is it, in your opinion? How do you perceive leadership to be the foundation, and how do we facilitate really the development thereof? Because, if we have strong leadership in society, we have a strong a community, and we have options to give people. Would you just give your opinion on that?
Okay, so that's a really good question. And one of the things that, just to tie it with the first question to this question that I had forgotten to put in there was I'm also a mental health practitioner. And part of what I do at Africa Healing Foundation is heading the mental health, the mental health team. So in terms of leadership, one thing that when it came to Africa Healing Foundation, and I already had the experience where I was working in the UK, and I also was working as a mental health practitioner, but I was not in a position where kind of starting from scratch. So I've been part of building Africa Healing Foundation from the ground, like from when there was nothing, and it's come up to building a team. And one of the things I think a lot of people really mistake what leadership is, and I wish I knew what leadership is from when I was young, because one thing I even say to my daughter now is, we look at roles, we look at where people are in their roles, like we look at titles, and that's why I wanted to begin with a title. You look at someone's title. Listen, I can call myself a CEO. Anyone can call themselves a CEO. Yeah. But it's those, skills. It's those, the people. Are you a people person? Are you someone who people want to follow? Are you someone, who can influence people in a good way? Yes. What I see a lot happening is people are really putting this word leadership into their title, but then look down the line, they don't really treat people with respect. True. They don't look at people, as people. And, being with, having to be the first few people who've seen Africa Healing Foundation grow since its inception. One thing I can say is also having a team of, we've got a team of 20. That's just for the mental health volunteers. These are people who are volunteering their time. Yes. But we put in systems in place where we have an organization that's running smoothly. And that started with me. So starting with those little people that, we started with, it was 5-6 people, but it was getting to know them. It was getting to know what they're like, not making them feel as if that I'm someone who's at the top of, It was also teaching them and them teaching me, because not everyone knows everything. I mean, I've been in situations where I've had managers, I've had CEOs, but they didn't even know the structure of their business. Yes, I've seen that. That happens so often. And I'm like, I say to myself, I never want to be like that.
Yes.
I want to get involved, all aspects. I have taken the time as a leader to learn how do you do digital skills, how do you do customer facing roles, how do you even get into situations where you're communicating with people, how do you address your team, how do you address conflict. These are simple skills.
Skills. Yeah.
People don't really underestimate how being a people person goes a long way. And
Yes.
through that, it's the important thing is those people that that come on and come under your guidance as a leader, they look up to you. Not for you to take advantage of them. And
Yes.
respect, I have mentioned respect, and seeing them as people.
Yeah.
And not as people who are there to do something for you. Because whether you pay them or whether you don't, one thing is, if you realize the world we live in today, people are not driven by money. People are driven by acceptance, belonging,
Love. Yeah.
love. And if you're not giving those three, my friend, you're going to have a hard time leading.
Yes. Because the team is not going to fall into line.
It's as simple as that.
You said so many wonderful things. There's two things that came up in my mind. The first thing is you always treat everybody with dignity. It doesn't matter if it's the CEO, and this is something that I have done all my life. I treat the CEO the same as I treat the person that's cleaning the floor. I make it an option, a part of my day. If I go to, we have Checkers and Spar and Pick and Pay, all these shopping centers here. I go to the cleaning lady and I stop her and I say, thank you for this wonderfully clean floors. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't want to shop here. And then I would have to take my time and go across the town, drive further to another shop. So thank you. We should always treat people with dignity. That's the first thing. And the second thing is there has been this misconception that people have to focus on hard skills in the corporate world. And I've been told, stop focusing on the soft skills, stop focusing on the people, focus on the hard skills. Just to hear a few years later, I think 2 years later, soft skills actually started to be called power skills. Because they realized, and I think COVID helped this, they realized that we are working with people. It's not about the asset. It's not really about the goal. It's about the people and how we treat them. And that's going to, show us our end result. So I agree with you 100%. If my heart resonates with yours, we have to give people love and acceptance always. Because they are important. They're not things. They are human beings. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that, this is where I think I really want to emphasize, especially in corporate places, that mental well-being in the workplace is so fundamental, not just, organizations, but wherever it is. If you're running a structure where you have people working for you, mental workplace needs to be in place. Because what you have is, and I've seen this quite often, especially in my field, working in corporate, but also delivering mental health training, is you have let's say the manager. The manager's got their own issues, wherever they've come from. They've got their own, either it's trauma or whatever that they have never addressed. And what that happens is there's a level of transference from the manager to then the employees, because the manager hasn't then dealt with what they have gone through. They've now put it on the employees. The employees are now then having to have, mental health problems that they've got home to deal with. And then they're not taking whatever is into their home. So we have to deal with mental health at a personal level.
Yeah.
Not as an organization level. Each person has to take responsibility, because then we can start introducing things like mental health in the workplace,
Yes.
addressing the person as an individual rather than addressing mental health from a position of where it is dealing with the organization. So I think there's certain conversations that really need to happen, that need to be at the ground surface and not superficial, because I feel like, especially a lot of training in mental health, for me, I feel it's very flawed. Because most of the things are quite superficial, and they don't get to the heart of the matter, and they don't get to a place where you kind of deal with the issues at hand. So I think mental health in the workplace needs to evolve a bit more, and a lot of conversations, genuine conversations, need to happen from the top.
Yes. And genuine conversations only happen when we build relationship. We have to build relationship. I have to know. That's how I've always run my churches as well. I know my congregation members. I know their children. I've been to their home. They've been to mine. I know where they work. I know the things that they're going through. It is a give and take. There has to be a relationship building, because there's too much of the superficial going on out there, Eve. There's too much of the superficial. We need authenticity. We need authentic leaders to say, I'm here. I want to build relationship with you. And that's exactly what you've said now. The manager is dealing with something. The team members are dealing with their own problems. Get to the root. But how do you do that? You build relationship. You build trust.
And I want to address churches.
Let's
because
go.
I am controversial like that. Now, one thing, churches, I have nothing against, I'm a woman of God. I love God.
Amen, sister.
I am, but the one thing, there is something, and it's about when people come to churches, especially they're in pain, they've got things that are going on, and people have taken the time to build that relationship with your church, to build that relationship with you. There are certain churches where someone will come with a problem and be taken advantage of.
Yes.
Or talk about their problems, and then next thing, everyone in the community knows about their problem. Because
that's a big no.
To learn, when it comes to someone is coming to you, they trust you. Trust is something else. They trust you to come and tell you about their business, to tell you about what's going on. And to seek solace in where they're coming. I think a lot of churches really use that against people, and it's either you find they will go through some things where they will be exploited, or they will find out that someone has, put out the information out there. So I feel like that a lot of churches really need to see, in terms of leadership, they need to have some self-reflection. How are they actually leading?
Because they are not allowed to speak out.
Exactly. And what are they tolerating?
Speak out.
What are they tolerating? And because if the leader is tolerating people to come in and abuse people, then the congregation is going to see that, and they're going to be okay with that.
Yeah, I've seen that happen, Eve. You're spot on. I've seen that happen before. And we live in a broken society. And people have this misconception that church is perfect. It's not. And that's why, I've got my God can shirt on here today. And I always tell people, we can't, do what God can do, but God can. He can fix. He can recalibrate. But it's still up to the choices of that pastor. I mean, a pastor is supposed to keep that trust relationship going. Pastor is never supposed to say a word to anyone, not even their spouse. But we do find that they do. And that is the human flaw. They make mistakes. And unfortunately, to the detriment of the church and the community and the people that are exploited. And that's really a problem that you've identified. It's a leadership problem. Because I think if you go into corporate world, trust and confidentiality is everything. You have to be able to keep that trust going. Yes. Thank you for bringing up that point. It's very important that we know this.
I think that what one advice that I can put out there is, if you probably feel like it's difficult, or you feel like there's someone has offloaded something to you that that you can't keep, and you need to also seek some sort of supervision or some guidance from someone that you trust, the best way I can just put it is always, the person who's told you whatever they've told you, always keep it confidential. If you have to do the name to refer to the person, and then not giving details such as their name or their age or where they live. So if you're looking not for gossip, but for seeking the guidance for you to be able to, maybe it's something that maybe it's because what tends to happen in being in that field, mental health field, some of the things that came up in sessions, I would have to do supervision, because some things that probably the client said brought something to me. So that's why it's important for that, even for you as a leader, people can and say things to you that probably bring some emotion out of you and trigger you. And you need someone that you trust, someone who can guide you to be able to offload that, to kind of be able to have that from a different perspective. So you going to that person is, you can talk about the situation, but not giving personal information around, or too much information around the person who gave you the information. So that's another way to keep confidentiality.
Interesting. Yes, to make a hypothetical scenario. Okay, that's a wonderful suggestion. Yes, in our religious community, I'd call it, because I don't know if it's the same in every country. The only time that you are allowed to say, anything about a session that you've been in is if there's been a crime committed. For instance, if someone confesses that they maybe harmed someone or murdered someone, then of course you have to say, call the police, and then also
yes, that's a good point. Confidentiality. there is a point where you can breach. So, for instance, if someone comes and says to you, Anita, that let's say it's me, I come to you and I tell you I've been really stressed out. I don't know what's happening with me. I feel like I'm about to end my life. Today, I'm going to go and do something to myself. Then there you have an obligation. You have a duty to protect my life.
Yes.
So that one, you can go and, get the right things in place for me.
Yes, to help you.
And let's be very also specific here.
Yeah.
It's getting the right things in place, getting the right people in place, not getting everyone involved in my situation.
Not telling everybody.
Yes.
True. And also, if there's sexual child abuse or things like that, I mean, obviously, that is not something you keep to yourself. If you know that someone is a sexual offender, I mean, you're not going to pray about it. You're going to step in and get, like you said, the right systems in place to assist that child. Because, I mean, that person is telling you that they are busy doing things like that. So there's a fine line, but the point to the audience, what Eve and I are making, points that we are making is, be careful how you work with people and make sure you do it in a systematic and in a safe manner. Because if now we have, for instance, someone that wants to commit suicide, and you don't do it in the right sequence or in the right manner to put those systems in place, you just tell everybody, what harm are you then doing to that person? You're not saving them at all. You're making the situation worse. So as leaders, we need to be very careful when we work with people and remember that they are emotional beings. We all are. And I want to ask you, Eve, I mean, you are a very strong leading lady, strong personality. You do so much in the world. At what age did your leadership journey start?
My leadership journey started, I think, when I was... it's quite recent. I think, at 30, I think 30, it was quite recent when I, 30, 35. How old am I? Oh gosh, I'm getting
My
old.
goodness. Yeah. Wow.
30,
Really? Only recent.
30. So a few years back, let's say like 4 years back. So I would say uh, it was around 4 or 5 years back. Truly,
Wow.
truly, the moment 2019 was when I really started to, it started manifesting, let's say in 2018. But in 2019 is when I can say that I actually started put myself out there.
Pouring out. Yeah.
I've never had the opportunity to because I've always been a single mother. I got married in 2017. So the roles that I took up on, like in terms of like the jobs that I took up on, was things like support worker jobs in the UK, and those didn't really help me to embrace those leadership skills. I always felt there was something different about me, because I did things in a way where it's working hard, but it's doing things in a way where even when I was tired, taking care of the kids, 2 kids, being a single mom, show up, like I would go and drop the kids off at my mom's, and I'd be working from, let's say, 6 a.m. I'd have to be in Central at the time. I was also a chef. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so 6 a.m. I would be starting at my chef job at 6 a.m. and finishing at 1 a.m. and then having to get the bus, train back home at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I have to be up again in an hour just to make ends meet. And even with like the support worker jobs, I remember there's a time I went, I was so behind on bills. So I did like a shift from Friday morning to Monday morning nonstop. So I got off one job, 8
My
to
goodness.
I started another one 8 to 8 the next morning, Saturday. I then finished that one 8 in the morning. Then I went 8 in the evening to another one. Then I got back 8 Sunday morning. I didn't go to bed till 8 Monday. And I think through those is, for me, one of the things is, I had to do what I had to do. And it was, when I look back now, it didn't give me, because I was so focused in providing for kids, I didn't have time to explore what my true capabilities were. But then I realized I can't keep going on with life like this. So I decided I'm going to go and do like a course. So I initially had like a degree, which I took in 2012. But that one didn't kind of give me the job opportunities that I wanted. So I decided to go and enroll in social work, and then I ended up training in clinical social work. So that's when my love for mental health came along, and then from there, I was blessed enough to then get a corporate job. And this is like, also happened in like the last, I did in the corporate like 3.5 years. But I realized corporate is not for me. Working is not for me. I always knew in my heart that I wanted something for me. So learning through that, it was just, when I was working as a mental health practitioner, it was really taking on board those, the initiative to do things. And that's one of the things my manager always pointed out, like she was so amazed at how I would just do things. But I didn't see that in myself. And she said something to me one day, and she said, don't ever let anyone dim your light.
Beautiful.
And from that point on, I started to look at myself in a different way within my workspace. And I started to ask myself, how far can I really go?
Excel. Wow.
And it's like, when my father passed in 2018, I realized that I have so much that I have not done. I'm in my mid-30s and I have not even scratched the surface. And I was talking to my husband, and my husband, from the moment he met me in 2017, And he said to me that you don't understand. You're a leader. Like you are.
You see, so it's like I see it.
he was like you shine. Like when I look at you, you're a star. You don't know what you're about to do. Like you're a star. And when he was telling me this, I was like, me lead, because in my mind, like going back to what we said earlier, is in my mind, I thought that the definition of a leader was those people who you see in like corporate boards or people who are running companies. That was what I held in my mind. But I started to embrace that role. I started to think of myself as one. I started to live in it, believe it. And that's where my confidence really grew, because it wasn't from the things that people were saying about me or what I was, the external validation, but what I thought of myself. And today, I look in the mirror and I don't even realize who I am. Like I can speak confidently in any spaces, and no man is going to intimidate me.
Fantastic. I love that. I love that. You're such an inspiration. And you know, you might not have seen yourself as the leader, but it didn't take away from the fact that you've always been one. And it took that manager of yours and it took your husband just to bring it into your consciousness that you are this leader and that you have all these capabilities. And I know there's going to be great things that you're still going to do. Now, I want to ask you, in your life, since you started realizing that you are a leader, what was one of your favorite leadership memories and why? Is there something you look back at and reminisce about it?
Oh, that's a really good question. Oh, wow. I'm trying to think back.
There's probably so many.
Like when I look back now, it's like, no, actually, it was, oh gosh. Oh, there's actually so many. But I would say leadership qualities that probably that I can say was when I knew that I could be in a room full of men and own it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Was in two instances actually. In when I was working as a chef, and I was the only girl at that time, and with a team of guys.
Yeah.
So they were all guys, and I worked like them. Like there was nobody could intimidate. Nobody could intimidate me. And I remember one of the managers just speaking and saying, the way they were speaking to everyone, it was like, I got really upset. Because
I see.
You people are working for you. You don't do that. And I got so upset. I got upset to a point where the food that was there that was ready to go, I just took it and I just pushed it off and I walked out.
Yeah.
And I called the whole team and I said, we're going on a strike. We need to demand some respect of the way we are spoken to.
Yeah. Good. Good. So you made a point. Good.
Yeah, so that was one of the things. And then the other one was I think when my father was going through what he was going through, and there was things that were unexplained, that were not explained properly. My father was they had found out that he had cancer. And from the point that he had cancer, the hospital that was taking care of him didn't even have an oncologist to support him the whole entire
my goodness.
In our cases, there's negligence. I have said it, whether they want to admit it or not, I don't care. Because they didn't even have the diabetic thing. Once they operated on him, they didn't realize that he was stage 4 up until after colon cancer.
Horrible.
So I called a meeting, and there's all these doctors, and and doctors from different, but not even one oncologist. But what I had done is, through the entire time, you can even ask my husband, I got into the books. I became a doctor overnight. Before I went into that boardroom, and I was asking questions, and they brought, so many doctors in there who didn't even explain what we wanted to know. So I think that was another way that I saw I could be a leader. That's often people want to silence us, and not just not in terms of conflict or anything, but people want to silence us when it comes to our dreams.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You have to own the power within you, and that is one of the things that I can remember, that I can be in spaces where once upon a time I thought some people are better than me because they have better jobs than me, because they have traveled the world, or because they're certain positions. But that's not the case. At the end of the day, we're all heading towards one place, and that is the grave. And the grave has no titles. Back to the titles.
Absolutely.
So, I am here to live my life to the fullest, and really find out what I'm capable of.
Yeah. I love that. Now, you've seen in the corporate, you've worked, you saw things transpiring, and I agree with you about the titles. Absolutely. We don't have to overemphasize titles. It's merely a function that is being conducted, that is being fulfilled. So team leaders, sometimes we have team leaders, though, that do focus on their title so much, and then they kind of mistreat their team because they feel like they're elevated, or I'm not sure how that happens, but I have seen that before. And then the morale of the team is low. Sometimes on the other extreme, you have a phenomenal leader that is just wonderful at what they do, really grounded, humble person, and I've seen that as well. But the team's morale is also low because, as we've mentioned, they go through things, or maybe they're not catching the vision, or maybe they're not as excited about the project as they can be. So how, in your opinion, should a team leader keep the morale of the team high, keep that spirit up, and why is it important?
So the first thing is always lead from behind. I lead from behind, and I like to have the people that I work with shine.
Beautiful.
So the way I do it is, with the team, I just say, this is what we need to achieve. What are you good at? That's the first thing that I ask them. Like, even when when the volunteers come in, we don't tell them what to do. We don't tell them what, this is what we need to do. We tell them, this is what we want to achieve. These are the different areas. These are the different things that we're doing. These are the different opportunities that are there. Which one do you want? Which one are you really good at? Which one do you love doing? We don't want you to come and do something that you don't want to do. What is it, that thing that drives you? And, I think also, because we work, along different things. We've got the nutrition part, we've got the agriculture part, we've got the mental health part. So we've got different aspects of the holistic care, but we've got obviously different departments that are running those different things of the holistic care to bring that together. So it's about also giving them the opportunity. Do you want to move around? What do you want to explore? And also finding out what do you want to do that will really help you in your life? Because we believe in, leaving people better than you found them.
Beautiful.
And one of the things is helping them to explore what is that one idea that you really, and I'm so grateful to my old manager, because she let me explore my ideas. Like, I have ideas for things. Like, I think I should start charging people for like ideas and because
for your IP, your intellectual property.
I can have ideas and I execute. I don't waste time on it. So it's bringing them on, showing them your ideas are okay. What idea do you have? What do you want to do? And helping them to make those mistakes with us, helping them to learn with us, because when you hold someone back, when you're micromanaging, oh, don't do this, don't do that, they're going to lose motivation, they're going to lose respect, and they are not going to do anything for you.
True. You're talking about ideas, two things. You're talking about ideas. Now, let me tell you, I'm like that. I have books and papers, and if I have an idea, I have to quickly write it down before it leaves me again.
Journals. I have journals, apart journals. My husband is always like, oh my gosh, another journal, another book, another.
I love that.
I'm on journals. I've got too many of them. Like I have to update my journals every night.
That's the one thing. And the second thing is, I did a post the other day that said, I've heard about micromanagers, but I've never heard about micro leaders. And I ended the post by saying, when you lead, make sure you lead well. If we micromanage, we stifle the innovative thoughts of our team. We stifle their growth. And at the end of the day, we stifle our project because they are not going to sit. It's not going to sit well with them. They want to express. Human beings are expressive, in their work and everything that they do. So I love the fact that you want them to make the mistakes with you so that they can grow. I think that is phenomenal. It's a wonderful view that you have. I love that.
No, thank you.
And now I've got another, and talking about journals, you have a journal which is on Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's Anxiously Bold, a 30-day guided journal for the anxiously bold visionary. Would you like to explain that to us, to the audience? It's really a lovely title. I love it.
I did that during the pandemic.
I love it.
I was bored. No, but aside from that, like there was a lot of, I used the pandemic to learn skills. I was like, what can I, and I've got it here actually. This is actually my resale, my first copy that I got. That I want to even actually frame. I don't know if you can see it.
I can see it now. If you hold it there, I can see it. I can read it.
So
Wow, beautiful.
This one is the copy the special copy for the person who did the thing from Amazon. And I did everything from everything from the cover to, so I used Canva. So I even learned about Canva in during the pandemic. So I made everything from Canva. So it didn't even take me. And I think that's one of the things that people need to do, first of all, before I even go into my journal, is when you start learning a skill, find out what that skill can do for you. This only took me, which was Canva. And I was using the free version of Canva. So I did it with a free version of Canva to create this. And from that, I took it over to Amazon KDP, uploaded it on there, and published my thing, where I don't have to pay nothing to have it on there. But I get paid when people buy it. So when you are talking about, first of all, leadership, that's another thing. Executing your ideas is very important. So I was like, when this came about, I was thinking about what I love journals, and I wanted to kind of at that time I was writing a lot, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I should create a journal because I was seeing journals were the thing at that time.
Okay.
And I was saying, how would mine look like? What would I actually write? What would I actually put out there? And the reason I called it Anxiously Bold is because, first of all, I suffered from anxiety. So, but that then transformed to being anxiously. I'm still anxious, but I'm anxiously bold.
That's wonderful.
So it was sort of like when I wrote this, it was sort of like that's the transition for me. So this is a very special journal. So if you haven't gotten it, make sure you head over to Amazon to get it because it's a very special. This is like my first and ever journal, and it's not your typical journal where there's just you just write down your stuff. It's me talking
Yes.
about, understanding your vision. It's me talking about, what is your determination. And
Yeah.
there's a very interesting part, which is what holds a lot of people back is, and I put it at the end, and that is that, but what if?
Yeah.
We always, what if someone laughs at me? What if I'm judged? What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not a leader? What if I'm ugly? What if I can't talk right? What if I'm sure we can all relate to all those things. There's negative
Yes.
self-talk. And when we
Absolutely.
listen to that, and it was important for me to, when I was writing this, I was thinking to myself, what if I don't finish this journal? It seems simple to create, but when I first received it, I was so happy because, like I always say, people's dreams don't often go too far from no far from their mind. So for me, this was like something that was in the mind, and I put it
Yeah.
on paper.
You brought it into the world.
That's the thing. It's something that's special, and it goes to even like my business with the women. It was in my mind to have something for women where I can coach them to develop themselves, to go through the journey that I've gone through, to come from that place of anxiety and actually own their confidence. And now I
Yeah.
had to put it out in the world. I had to come up with something. And so this journal was just 30 days where I committed to sitting down and actually taking action. So that's why it says 30 days. In 30 days, you can change your life. So
Beautiful.
I had
Yeah.
published this and did everything within a week.
That's fantastic. That is phenomenal. And I wanted to tell the audience we are going to make that link available at the end of the session. Do yourself a favor and purchase this journal on Amazon and change your life in 30 days. I mean, what are we waiting for, really? We should just go and, take action like you said. I love that.
Exactly. You will never know unless you start. Starting
Yeah.
is everything. I think a lot of people spend too much time in the planning and trying to make it
Yes.
perfect.
Oh, yes.
They never execute. Um,
Yeah.
you sit there, you need to really think about, time does not wait for anyone. You don't want to be 60, 70, 80, and you
Yeah.
have, a lifetime of regrets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So make time of now, because also let's remember that time is not guaranteed. You don't know when your time is coming to an end. And if you're someone who has things that they want to do in this life, this is the time, not tomorrow, not next week, now.
I love that. And it's true. And I can tell you from my personal experience that it's true because my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer in 2020. And thank God he heard my prayers. I was able to reach her after the lockdown and spend the last 5 days of her life with her. And do you know what she told me on her deathbed? She said I should live with intention because she was 65 and she still wanted to go places, learn new skills, do things, meet people, start businesses. And she said she still thought she had 25 years left and she was going to pass away. She knew she was going to pass away in the next few days or next few hours. We weren't certain because she lived, instead of 3 weeks that they gave her, she lived more than 3 months. She waited for me to come and see her. I was stuck, I couldn't go because of the lockdown, but that was on her deathbed. That is what she said, exactly what you said. Time is not guaranteed. Go over into action and make that positive change. Learn from other people's mistakes, people that have put things off. Now, one day. Why does it have to be one day? Say next week. Use your words and say, well, next week I'm going to start this and this, and then you do it. Because no one knows when it's their time. And life is tough. And things are tough, and people can be difficult, and decisions can be hard. And it brings me to my next question. What is the toughest decision that you've had to make as a leader? What was the toughest decision?
I think the toughest decision is understanding that sometimes you also can't wait for people to catch up. Because you have to also look at giving people guidance, but it's also, there comes a time to have those difficult conversations when you see someone either is just not pulling their weight, or also you remember that. And this is, oh, sorry, I've just gotten something that I need to share before.
Tell, we want to hear.
And I think maybe it's a word for someone, but as a leader, you need your team. The vision has to be aligned from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
You have to be inspired. When you have someone along your leadership level that is not believing in the vision, that is not believing in what you're doing, then understand that that one person can disrupt things from moving forward.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So for me, it was really, the hardest decision would be to call those people out, to say, this is what's happening.
Bring it to light,
Yeah, but not also, and I think there's a part of me where, as a leader, and also because even with my coaching, it's quite, I wouldn't say it's, I'm very blunt in a nice way.
You have tact.
Yeah. And sometimes even with my clients, there's that difficult conversations that I need to have, that, you're sort of like not pulling the weight. If you want this as much as you say you want it,
yes,
you should be willing to work for it. I'm not here to do the work for you. I've done my own work. I have, I don't, and it's come to a point where I've had to give back money because I couldn't work with that person.
Yeah.
And because I am the type of person that, for me, my peace is important.
Yes, you have to guard it at all costs. Yeah.
Exactly. My sanity is important, and I want the best for the people that I work with. I'm not the selfish person. I don't want to have everything by myself. I don't want to experience the goodness of life by myself. I want to be able to someone else to share that journey with me. But you have to also be, as a leader, you also have to call out those people who are not pulling their weight, because at the end of the day, that can also impact on you as a leader, on your mental health, on your sanity. And there's ways you can have these conversations without belittling someone. It's just a matter of giving that feedback, but also providing recommendations as well. And also, like, for example, with the team, when I see if someone has not been able to deliver, let's say a few times on something, it's always a case of, is there something that needs to be altered? So we kind of review, is it something that maybe, and then they'll come that it's not a strong point of mine, and then we can review that and kind of get them. But if they're continuous changes and there's never anything that's being accomplished, then you also have to be able to be discerning to a person and knowing when someone is actually not motivated, or this is just their character that they don't, because there's people who don't like working for life.
Yes.
So it's about how those are the difficult. I find those difficult. I find those conversations very difficult.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Even if I'm gonna part ways with someone, I want it to be in a good note. I don't want someone to live feeling in a certain way, or anything about. Because I think, for me, I'm at a place where I have that self-awareness. So for me, it's easy to take feedback and constructive criticism from someone. But there's people who don't have the level of self-awareness that I have, or you have, to take that constructive criticism, and they often take it in a bad way.
Yes. And those are the people that are stuck, that go for help to get unstuck, but that are comfortable in the places that they're at, and they don't want to do the work. Like you said, we can't motivate them to get unstuck. They must want to try and change. And it's life coaching it's a hard work to do. It's tricky.
And that's fine. And I always make that clear when I am, especially with the women that I coach. It's like, for me, I always let them know who I'm for. And it's okay if you're in that space where there's nothing. I always say there's nothing wrong with, staying in that space, because that is how you want to live your life. And I can't always see someone else's perspective, and someone else can see my perspective. So I don't force people out of the place. That's why I only talk to the women who want to move out of that being unstuck, but they need to realize there's a level of work that's needed to get you to the woman that you want to become. And and I like that you said they're not willing to change. You can never make someone to change unless they want to change.
Absolutely. Otherwise, if they do it for the wrong reason, or they just want to make us feel like we are accomplishing something, it is short-lived, because they have to realize that the transition is going to be difficult, and they have to change their views. And I think worldviews is the big thing, in changing, because people become complacent. And I've looked at your profile. We've had a discussion, and I see that you fulfill the following roles. You're a mindset and a life coach. You're a speaker, public speaker, mental health advocate, practitioner, philanthropist. And I want you to explain to the audience, can you elaborate on these roles, and how do they tie into your overall leadership role?
So the mental health one, actually, it's something that I transitioned from, like, my full-time job to now. Kind of left my corporate full-time job where I was doing mental health into putting my energy, because at the time I was doing my full-time job, I was doing my business, I was doing the motherhood, I was doing the Africa Healing Foundation, I was doing so I was getting a bit overwhelmed, and I was like, I had to make a very difficult choice in terms of, which one do I drop? And I think a lot of people are scared to do this, which is it's quite a hard one, because if you don't have that support system, it's quite difficult. So one of the things we had to kind of go with my husband is like, I can't keep doing all this. So I had, I went back, and kind of, it was also a voice from God.
Amen.
And, God really spoke to me last year, and, he said to me, that, I can't do what I need to do with you in that position. And I had to take a leap of faith, and I trust in God and trust in his word.
Amen.
And I took the leap of faith earlier this year in January, and I handed in my resignation. And from that point on, I think a lot of things started to shake. Financially, things just went downhill. It was a rough place. But I believe there's no greatness without a battle.
True.
So we went through that battle, and then we started now coming out of the other side. And it just showed that, we stuck in there, we had the faith, but it's helped. I don't regret that decision, because it's helped me focus on Africa Healing, developing, we're developing a mental health app. We're giving talks in the communities that are not aware around mental health. We're also giving now mental health within prisons as well, mental health talks, delivery with kind of everything that we're doing. We have created as a team from scratch. So, like, the materials that we do, we create from scratch. Like, we have an amazing team of people, and it's just the exchange of ideas and skills amongst us. There's no better person. So that's really allowed us to develop something that is unique, rather than anything that you want, you can find on Google. but we're trying to cater for what we've seen from a perspective of people who are on the ground. So that's the Africa healing part of it. So I do that. I do remote working. I had the chance to now go and also visit Zimbabwe, but we also do some workshops here with mothers, single mothers, and to get them also taking care of their mental health, because I was a single mother as well. So I run those groups, school speaking, corporate speaking on mental health. I also do that as well. So do reach out to me if you need speaking for your school or mental health or your corporate. On top of that, mindset and life coaching, that is a place where I get to work with amazing women, amazing, ambitious, purpose-driven women who are ready to build their confidence. So if you're that woman who wants to, is ready to get into gear and really see what you're capable of, just reach out to me and let's see what magic we can create together.
Fantastic. So inspiring. And yes, sometimes we have to take a step back and just say, well, there's too many things I'm busy with. I want to focus on these things and be my best at that. And I take my hat off to you, because it's not an easy decision to make. And, you certainly did not procrastinate in the COVID. I mean, you did your journal. You built up your life skills. You learned how to use Canva. You found a very interesting and clever way to, publish your book without it having cost you any money or take you any time, your journal. So procrastination was a big problem before the COVID. Do you perceive that COVID has enhanced procrastination as a problem, maybe highlighting it a little bit, or maybe it didn't, maybe the opposite is true? And I'm still deciding on that, because I saw people really going into, a state of nothingness in the COVID. They did nothing. And then I see on the other extreme people that started up businesses and they scaled up. In 2020, instead of losing finances, they scaled up. 2021, they scaled up again. So I'm still undecided, but what's your opinion on procrastination? What has COVID brought out with regards to that topic?
So it's quite interesting that you asked that, because that's one of the things that I do work with women around, because to get to the point of confidence, we work on the self-doubt, the self-sabotaging behaviors such as procrastination. And one of the things that I believe is, if there's a character about you that was probably there already, the situation would just manifest it even more.
Enhance it. Yeah.
So
good answer.
It's the same thing that they say. If you're a guy, if you're someone who's rude, and you get money, the money will just make you more rude.
Yeah.
If you're someone who's humble, the money will make you even more humble, even more humility. So I think for me, I think there's a level of self-reflection that needs to happen in regards to procrastination. First of all, there's good procrastination and there's negative procrastination. I do have the positive procrastination, because positive procrastination is, God, what do you want me to do in this season?
Yes.
I need to wait, because someone like me, my problem is positive procrastination, because I have an idea and I just want to execute. But then the problem with that, the problem with that, then I end up I'm always now out here doing something, putting something out new.
Yeah.
And that's something that I had to learn in 2021. Like, you can't just be out here always developing something, always putting something. You're going to get burned out. You're not going to have, a sustainable, successful business. Yes. So I had to kind of say, stop everything. Yes. Choose one thing.
Yeah.
So that is an example of positive procrastination.
Yes.
Negative procrastination, on the other hand, is if someone is out there and there's something that they want to do. And let's say, for example, you've taken up a course, and you see this a lot. People go on a course or they get inspired by the first module and and then all of a sudden they don't even continue. They stop. They don't even implement. So that's another. So then there's negative procrastination.
Yeah.
Negative procrastination is when people are, let's say, for example, you've gone on you've seen a course you want to do and you think it's really going to help you, and you get excited, you get in there, you meet the people the first day, second day, third day, all of a sudden you're not even showing up for your module. Then you're procrastinating, then you end up saying next week, no, I'll do it next month, no, I'll do it next month turns into next year, and all of a sudden you've got this cost that you paid for that you didn't even utilize. So I think one of the things to really, before you do something, and this is something that has really helped me, I now have a list. I write down everything, I tick off everything that is important to me. What do I need to do? Once I do that, is I pick out from the different, and it's really helped me to kind of be able to organize my life in different ways, in different areas of the different roles that I step into.
Beautiful.
It's picking the important things that I need to do for each part. Sit down, write down, first of all, be very honest around why are you doing what you're doing. If it's, let's say, you want to start a business, like, for example, I had a girl reach out to me. She was looking for business mentorship. And one of the things that she sent me, she said to me, she wants to start a food truck company.
Oh.
And I asked her why. You couldn't give me an answer. And I said, first of all, you need to understand why you want to do what you're doing. And one of the things that I said to her that's important is, have a plan. You need to have a plan in place on kind of like how you're going to fund this business. Because obviously to fund, it's not like a digital product where you can just make and put. You need the capital for that. So I think there was a lot of unanswered questions. And I think it's also big, once you do the evaluation of why you actually want this, because that why is what will, is what is going to drive you when things get hard. It's that reminder of why am I trying? Because Africa Healing Foundation, what we're doing is hard. My business is hard. Times I have sat and cried and asking God, what do you want me to do? Like, I am knee deep in everything. People look at the glamour, they don't see what's going on.
No, they don't see the work behind the scenes.
So and then it's like sometimes we're, even with my husband, we're like, oh my gosh, you're trying to change an entire nation, not just a country, like an entire nation. So and it gets hard, and we're there looking at each other, and then we remember the people who are the volunteers who are here, who are on ground. We remember the our families. We remember the people who are suffering. We remember the people that we see online. We remember the people who have nothing, and that is our why, to create a better world.
I love that. If you speak from the heart, everything you do is from the heart. It's heart-centered. You're a very heart-centered leader. And we need more of you. We need more of you in the world. And our why is very important because it fuels our passion and it shows us our purpose. I always tell people, when our passion and our purpose meet, that's where the magic happens. People are stuck in things, they are doing things that they are not passionate about. And therefore they have questions about their purpose. And it's the biggest question mark in one's life if you don't know what your purpose is in life. So I would encourage people to do introspection like Eve did. Do that introspection. It's difficult. It's going to be difficult. It's not easy because there's things you're going to discover about yourself, about your life, about other people that you have to face. And you spoke about working with teams and having difficult conversations. Sometimes it's important for us to have difficult conversations with ourselves. And to just readjust and recalibrate what we do and why. Now, role models help us along this way. They help us to do this. Mentors help us. Life coaches such as you and I, we help other people to do this. We help people to facilitate that process. Who was your role model as you grew up?
Oh, oh my days. As I grew up, I would say, I think I would say my parents. They both had their strengths, and also obviously as humans they had their weaknesses. They were flawed humans, but I love them to bits. Flawed humans. I think growing up in a society, especially in the African society, is one thing that I think we spend more time with the house help.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And than the parents, and it's obviously the parents who are out there trying to get us the best life that we could, and obviously having the opportunity to come to the UK at such a time when obviously it was not that great, especially where I was coming from. And for me, I'd say, I think on my mom's side, what I took from her was, you can't tell my mom nothing. She's got a strength in her, like the way her work ethic is just unbelievable. And it's often where she'll have an idea and she'll just put it, and just put it to work. And she was, it's just, there's a level of confidence that she had. And I don't even think my mom went all the way to university.
But she made it.
she actually made it. And I think I think it's like a proud moment for her, because she's got the first grandchild in the family who's actually gone to university. So she gets very proud. But I think we come from my mom's side, we actually come from a line of women of leadership.
Wonderful.
So even like the characteristics, so definitely the leadership, I would say my mom's side. My dad wasn't a leader in that way, in terms of, he had his own way of leading, but that was like the church, leading in the church. So I think when it comes to when I see the different aspects of me, I see where you spoke about heart-centered. My dad was very like heart-centered in everything. Like he was. There was a certain calmness around him, whereas there was a certain fire with my mom. So I possess both.
That's great. Adaptability. They taught you well.
Oh, thank you.
Tell me, Eve, I mean, especially we've both been in the corporate world. We've both seen a lot of things in the ministry. We've both worked with people from different walks of life. What's the worst thing a leader can ever do, in your opinion?
I think demeaning someone. In terms of making them feel small, making them feel like they're not doing, in terms of what they're doing, if it's something they probably just don't know. Kind of just calling out that you're not doing this, you don't know what you're doing, and then just talking to them in such a manner where it's not human. I think the one thing that I can really point out is just dehumanizing someone.
Yes, I agree with you. It brings us also back to treating people with dignity, realizing they are all just wanting love and acceptance and support. And I've really seen how people mistreat others in all the spaces that I've worked in. And it's just uncalled for, and it cannot be allowed. Absolutely, I agree with you. And we as leaders and as women, we need to speak out about this. And we need to be the example. We need to be strong sometimes for people when they don't have that strength within themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's also it's also something that leaders are called to do in any sphere, any field of study. And my time with you has just absolutely flown by. I mean, they do say time flies when you're having fun. And I mean, you and I,
Oh, wow.
when we start talking.
I didn't even see the time.
Absolutely. And, we only have 2 questions left. We'll have to do a sequel to this session. I'm sure it's going to lead to a sequel. But my second last question to you is, what is next for you? What projects are you busy with? How can we, as Meticulous Moments audience, elevate you? We can go to Amazon and we can purchase your journal. And what else? What other projects are you busy with?
I think my mission is to create global impact. So putting my voice out there to as many platforms as, it's also about just as simple as you just sharing this video and it could inspire someone. So don't just watch it and keep it to yourself. Share it on, share the Meticulous Moments pages. Also, I've got a YouTube as well where I share inspiration. So go on my YouTube, it's Eve Mapanda, just YouTube search Eve Mapanda. For me, it's I am on a mission to be on global stages. That's where I'll start really creating more impact and more because for me, there's a joy about. Also, I think we've been in a place where we've done virtual so much. I think during the pandemic, I did so many virtual talks.
We want to travel now. We're gonna start traveling now.
Yes, like I want to feel people. Like I want to see in the eyes. I want to, really touch women at a deeper level. So more global speaking opportunities. So if you've got a speaking opportunity that, reach out to me. Even in South Africa, Juanita, I am free to come. I will be there. I need a holiday.
You come to me, we do an event, and I'll go to you and we'll do something in the UK.
Exactly. So I think definitely more global talks. That is definitely on the cards for 2023. I've done some in Africa, so I'm looking to do more international talks in 2023. Aside from that is really elevating women in my coaching business. So if you're a woman who is ready to step into your power, conquer your fears and self-doubt so that you can step into your potential and have that unshakable confidence, don't waste another moment. Reach out to me, and if you're ready to put in the work, you can be a different woman in the next 90 days.
Fantastic. I love that.
Before 2023, you can be a different woman. So reach out to me, and you can reach out to me at hello@mentallyMove.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Coach Eve Mapanda. Instagram as well, but I'm not really that much on Instagram. It's still Coach Eve Mapanda. You can reach out me there, or on YouTube you can have the free information where I put out content on my Facebook. I put out content on my YouTube. If you want to also get involved in supporting us with our Africa Healing Foundation nonprofit, you can find us on www.africahealingfoundation.org. If you'd like to donate as well to support the work that we're doing, go on the page, see the amazing work that we're doing. We need all the support that we can get.
Absolutely. And all those links that Eve have now transferred to us, made us knowledgeable about, we are going to be posting. I'm going to post those links at the end of this video and in the post. You are free to click on those. Go onto her platforms, follow her on social media, follow her project, support where you can. And we, as the Meticulous Moments audience, we are going to cheer you on, Eve, because we believe in you and we believe in what you do. And that brings me to our final question. Do you have any words of wisdom for the audience?
Chase after your dreams. I mean, Don't wait to start tomorrow. Start today, even if it's as simple as setting an hour to the side today to write out what your dreams are and start navigating them today.
Yeah.
Start today. You know, it's as simple as I was listening to something, and this woman said, "What was it? It was a podcast by Ashley Kirkwood." And she said, "You're on." It's something along these lines, but you're only one phone call away, one email away, or one person away to changing your life.
Beautiful.
Your success or your dreams will not find you sitting in the house waiting, scared of what people will do. The moment you start to put yourself out there, you will see things start to shift. You will see things start come to you, and always ensure that in everything that you're doing, the reason behind it, let it be a reason that will fulfill other people and not for yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's something that you've said, audience. Eve didn't say walk after your dreams. She said chase your dreams. That means do whatever you can to do, to believe in yourself enough, and what you need to do it so that you can attain those dreams. If we can do it, you can do it as well. Because God loves all of us and He wants us all to be successful. If you and I can do it, if even I can do it, you can do it. We are still chasing. Am I right, Eve? We didn't stop chasing. We're still chasing.
The work doesn't stop. I'm just scratching the surface.
Absolutely. I love the session with you. It was amazing. I thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your knowledge and experience, sharing that with us. We appreciate you, Eve Mapanda. You are just a phenomenal human being. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And to the Meticulous Moments audience, thank you for joining us today. We will be sure to post this session soon. Follow Eve, and then we see you in the next session. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.